Hey everybody, happy Sunday. So, reality is setting in. Okay, reality is setting in. Though not necessarily for everybody, because there are some people that are still in denial that this coronavirus is very serious. And we need to practice social distancing. And it's very hard because social distancing goes against everything that we're taught as far as being sociable, being supportive physically, and hanging out with friends and family and playing those games of let's have a party together, let's do this together, let's do that together, all that stuff. And this is obviously going to be very hard for the young people who are so used to going out and partying and all of that. And to be stuck at home on their own with nothing but their TV, their phone, maybe some Netflix, to be on your own with yourself, to be on your own with the J juice. That's one of the biggest things, as I even see in my group. People who've been around me for a while still have a hard time doing the J juice on their own. They still think that I'm going to assist them throughout some of the processes that they're going through. And a lot of people are actually going through some life-threatening stuff. You have animals, you have children, you have babies, you have yourself where you're getting diagnosed, and you want to get on the J juice and you want my assistance. And I give a lot of support through my group. I have a lot of videos. I do not put myself in any position to be anyone's assistant through some kind of life-threatening issue with an animal or with a baby or with yourself. Okay? Because I will not be put in that position to where I try to be nice and help a person. I'm not there physically to see what's going on. And then you do something incorrect and you blame it on me. Okay? And I know it sounds very selfish to some people, like, oh, I just wanted to ask you a question. There is no just asking a question when it has to do with somebody's end of life or an animal's end of life or a child's end of life. There is no just asking a question. It is how can I project and take this burden of a very stressful situation and transfer it onto somebody else and make them take the burden. So I have found that no matter what I do when it comes to the 11th hour for a lot of people, I'm going to be wrong either way. If I don't help somebody, they're going to blame me and say, oh my God, you didn't help me out at the last minute. I just wanted to ask you a question. And if I do help somebody and it's not enough, then I'm going to be blamed either way. So that's why I say you guys have to figure this out for yourself. If you've been on the J juice for as long as you've been around, or if you've been around my information for as long as I've been around, this shouldn't be very difficult. Okay? This shouldn't be very difficult. How you administer the J juice for whatever reason is going to be completely up to you. You got this far and you realize the 11th hour that your animal or your child or you are now suffering from some major life-threatening condition, okay? And now you want me or somebody else to go and save you at the 11th hour. That's not going to happen. Okay, you've known about this juice and what it can do for animals and what it can do for people and babies and all that for the longest time. Why didn't you put this, together in the beginning when you first heard about the J juice, knowing that your animal may have predispositions, knowing that your child has predispositions, knowing that you have predispositions, and you wait until the last minute, and then you want me to help you out. And when I say, no, I'm not going to answer any questions, I'm sorry. People feel bad. They think that I was not honoring and reciprocating because they supported me throughout the process. So if I don't go and answer all your questions, then now you're going to get mad at me and say that I, did this and that. I'm sorry. This protocol is for people who are independent. But I give so much information that there's no possible way that you couldn't do this. Everybody could do this. But if you're not doing the J juice, if you're not doing it, and you say you're doing it, then of course you're going to have questions. You're going to want me to assist you. You're going to want somebody else to assist you. And that's why I say the J juice is going to be like the moment of truth. It'll bring up the truth about what people are doing with the J juice. Okay? And it's like a truth serum. Because there's nothing poisonous about the J juice. If anything, it gets easier because you can actually put maple syrup, caro syrup, corn syrup, even honey, Okay, as long as you think it's appropriate, because some people are very diabetic and they probably don't need the honey or the syrup or the maple syrup in it. They really just need the J juice with nothing added to it except for the recipe. But some people are hypoglycemic. Some people have very low blood sugar, glucose issues. So it would actually be very beneficial to add something like maple syrup to the J juice. Especially if you have children. You can freeze the juice. Okay, you can make popsicles for your kids, whatever. I didn't put that in the book because I'm not trying to tell people how to administer it to their children. I'm not trying to tell anyone how to deal with their children's symptoms, with their dog symptoms or animal symptoms. This is just a food that everybody can drink, eat, taste, whatever. You know what's involved with it because I kind of lay it out. Or actually, I don't kind of lay it out. I lay it out. You're bringing in pre-existing conditions, predispositions. You're going to have to deal with it. Okay? And that's pretty much cut and dry. So if you have to go to me to assist you in any way whatsoever, you have failed to see the point of the J juice. Because I'm not your doctor. I'm not anybody's personal consultant for the juice. It's a food. Do you need people telling you how to eat your food in your house? Do you call someone and say, hey, tell me how to make my noodles? Tell me how to make my spaghetti? Tell me how to drink this water? No. I have laid out everything about the salt, about the probiotics, about the micro and macronutrition, about the water. I've laid out every single role of all of that and how it how it corresponds with the biochemistry. Okay? And everything matches up. Now you have to deal with healing. You have to deal with upgrading. And if you're not prepared to do that, then you shouldn't be on this, because the reason why people are in pain is because the body is desperately trying to live and you're not giving it what it needs. And then when you turn to pills, powder, supplements, detoxes, antimicrobials, antifungals, antibacterial, antivirals, you are now suppressing, you are actually inhibiting cell replication at the microbial level, which then for some people will trigger fertility. For others, it'll bypass fertility and then start taking you down a notch at the macro level. And that's why you're seeing the triggers of cancer, disease, and chronic illness, because people are applying the wrong chemistry to their body. They're applying cannabis. They're applying, all these different remedies that are actually destroying them when you think about it. And I don't say like destroying them in a way like where it's poisoning them. It is inhibiting cellular regeneration. It is inhibiting cellular replication at the micro level, your microbiome. Your microbiome is everything. It's your whole body is your microbiome. Okay? It is the proteins, it's viruses, bacteria, protein, protozoa, parasites, fungus. That's your microbiome. And if you are inhibiting and taking antivirals and antifungals and antimicrobials and antibacterial and antibiotics, you are inhibiting your longevity. You are actually shortening your lifespan. And if you're not fermenting the cabbage and the kale, and you're fermenting everything else, but you're not doing the cabbage and the kale, then you're not getting the maximum benefit of the micro and macronutrition. Because no matter what, you're going to have to deal with this virus. This virus, thank you, Cindy. This virus is no freaking joke. It hasn't hit us yet the way it's hitting Italy, where they have to go and pick and choose who it is they're going to save with their respirators, with their IV bags. We haven't come to that point, but people are waiting for that. They're just saying, okay, I'm going to just party until it's 1999, until it hits me and my family, and they don't take it seriously, but by that time it's too late. It's time now to learn how to cut down on the things, the extras. Learn how to live within your means. Learn how to live on very little. The J juice is going to help accelerate your upgrade process so you can handle the coronavirus, so you don't drown in your own fluids when you do get exposed. It's going to help you accelerate the upgrade process so that way your body can handle this new and aggressive environment. My dog went through the upgrade. I'm going through the upgrade. My husband is going through the upgrade as well. So are his friends and family. Some people are surviving, others are not. Some people are getting cancer triggers, tumor triggers. Some people are dying from cancer. Some people have experienced heart attacks and strokes within the last couple months. Okay? That's the reality. When you have an immunocompromised system and then you're exposed to an aggressive virus that builds up antibodies that quickly and it causes anomalies in protein replication, you're going to see diagnoses and death from cancer, disease, and chronic illness happen that quick. It's like Mother Nature turned the clock up. What you thought you had all this time to go and destroy yourself, so to speak, with the drugs, alcohol, and sex and all of that, and you thought, okay, well, I can just string it out for the next 10, 15 years, retire when I'm 60, and yeah, I'll have a little disability, but at least I'll be around. It's not the same way anymore. This is not the world that your parents have come from. You're in a different world. The clock has been turned up, and yet you're still living as if it's 1999. It's not 1999 anymore. And so you're watching the millennials, those that still want to go party at the bars and be like, oh yeah, well, I'm just going to just live as everything is normal. They don't know what's coming. Now, at this point, social distancing, the whole point of it is to flatten the curve so you don't have such a high hump in the amount of people being afflicted at the same time. Because when you have a deluge on a hospital that only has so many beds, that's when the ER doctors are going to have to go and pick and choose. Are you worth it to save? What are you going to contribute to this next world? Or are you 75, 80 with major amounts of issues that I'm going to pick this 30-year-old who has at least 40 years, maybe, to contribute. And if we save this 30-year-old over the 75-year-old, the return on the investment of our society is far better with the 30-year-old. That's what it's going to come down to. And so that's why they say social distancing. That's why they say stop with all of your social activities. Learn how to do the J juice on your own. Learn how to be on your own. Spend time with your immediate family in your house. You don't need to be getting together with all these play dates and park stuff and swimming and all that stuff. Learn how to keep your kids under lock and key for right now. I know it's going to be hard because people still have to work. And that's the difficult paradox, because I don't know what communities have legislation to help people who have kids at home and then don't want to be going to work. And so if you're an hourly wage worker, I think they're putting through legislation where they can actually pay for the time off that you have so you can social distance and quarantine. But I haven't seen anything in Ohio yet as far as that. They closed the schools, but now we're going to have kids that are going to be off for the rest of the year. They haven't even said they didn't say only for the next 3 weeks. Now they're saying most likely till the rest of the year. So they won't go back to school until September if they're on a traditional schedule. So we're going to have kids roaming around. Parents are at work or not. Kids are going to have nothing better to do except make trouble. So now you guys have to watch and keep track of everything. Okay? So this is not the world that your parents came from. We have to start treating and taking this seriously. But that's hard to convey because people haven't seen the worst of it. They haven't seen their friends who are the same age as them in their 40s and 30s drop like a fly. But when that happens, they take it seriously. But when that happens, it'll be too late. But it may need to happen that way. I'm prepared for it. I don't want to be prepared for it, but I am. So this is why I don't do any personal consultations with anyone that has an emergency situation. I will give you enough information to you figure out how you're going to do it. But no matter what, you raise that animal, you raise that child, you're taking care of this person, you allow them to get that bad if you know about J-Juice. And if you've been around J-Juice for the last 4 years, why you didn't at least administer it to your dependents and put your foot down is beyond me. For people that have people, if you have a 15-year-old, it's harder to get them to do things. But if you have an animal, if you have a baby, if you have someone you're taking care of, why you would keep this to yourself and not administer at least a little bit is beyond me. because you know the inevitable is going to happen. And when you have this virus that's around, it's going to accelerate time. Virus equals time. Viruses on a weak body is what creates time. Okay? So when you have a virus on a weak body, new virus on a weak body, it's like a fast forward in time. You're going to age faster. When you have a very stable environment on a relatively okay body, time passes by much slower. But when you have an aggressive environment on bodies that are not prepared to deal with the environment, time speeds up, which means that cancer, disease, and chronic illness speed up. If you start avoiding all the different foods out there and you start and you continue to perpetuate that Monsanto is killing you and GMO is killing you and the chemtrails are killing you and everything is killing you, then you are not focusing on understanding how to adapt to the environment. Because you need a certain amount of radiation, you need your minerals, you need your salt, you need your probiotics, you need the micro and macronutrition. So to narrow your food supply down to be only one or two things, you are actually undermining your ability to get the maximum benefit from your food supply. And then you're perpetuating that onto your friends and family who are so afraid now to eat any food because you have put the fear of Monsanto in them. And so now they're only eating organic and they're now not getting the maximum nutritional benefit. While you're doing the J juice, getting maximum nutritional benefit, you have just stopped a person who is not doing J juice to get nutritional benefit. That's why I get pissed at those who are still buying into the conspiracy, into the anti-Monsanto, anti-GMO, and they're doing J juice. They can afford to be political, but they're not promoting J juice. So they're starving their friends and family around them by buying into the conspiracy bullshit. Instead of learning how to talk about J juice and helping people adapt to the new environment, they're now furthering people's destruction. And that's why I get pissed. And that's why I block people on my Facebook who still buy into that stuff. That's why I get pissed when people promote the antivirals and the antifungals and the conspiracy stuff and trying to demonize the microbiome. That's why I block people, because they have not been listening to me, and they are systematically destroying their friends and family by promoting the fear campaigns of everything in their environment, when they should learn how to adapt to in their environment, not be afraid of their environment. And so that's why I am the way I am. And, sometimes it is a lesson that when someone that we love dies around us because we allowed it to happen, because we didn't take a stand, that's a lesson on that you actually affect the people around you. Now, I know you can't force people around you, but if you have an animal, you have a baby, a child, you have a loved one that you're looking after, there's only so much you can do as far as a grown-up. But why you wouldn't figure out a creative way to get this into their system, and I've given you guys a tool and substantiated that. Maple syrup. Maple syrup in the J juice, or adding juice in the J juice, is going to make it easier for those that have an adverse reaction, so to speak, to anything that's too salty. Now, I'm not saying adverse is like a bad thing, but they just don't like the taste of it. Okay, we'll add a little bit of maple syrup to it then. Okay? Add a little bit of juice to it. Problem solved. I've substantiated that sugar is not poisonous. So and that's in my book, my next book, is that I have actually substantiated why sugar and salt are necessary and we shouldn't demonize it. There is no such thing as crappy food, only crappy bodies. And now you have to learn how to adapt to your new environment. And if you're still perpetuating the conspiracy bullshit and you're trying to scare people away from eating food because you have an issue, you are contributing to the problem. Nobody's going to demonize 5G, chemtrails, any of that shit, or sugar, or salt, or probiotics, or acid. No one's going to demonize any food, because now, more than ever, you're going to need the food. And we have now actual legitimate scarcity. When you go to the market and you're trying to find your potatoes, and you're trying to find, the foods that you're used to eating, and people have cleaned off the shelf, what are you going to do? You're going to have to eat whatever it is that you've been afraid of. But you have the J juice to help you metabolize it, process it, release the excess, absorb what you need. So now you could eat potato chips and do the J juice. Now you could eat all the different processed foods and do the J juice. we have figured out how to give ourselves the freedom with the J juice. But if you're not following me and you're still stuck in your conspiracy world, you're going to fall into those demonization games, and then you're going to undermine the protocol, and then you'll destroy your friends around you. Because there's still so many people buying into the fear campaigns of Monsanto and of chemtrails and of sugar and of salt. And so now is the time for you to redeem yourself. Now is the time to redeem yourself. And if you don't want to redeem yourself, fine. Do the J juice and shut the fuck up and give me your testimony. That's how you can redeem yourself, is give me a freaking testimony on how the J juice is contributing to your life. And if you have no testimony, then what the hell are you doing? If you had nothing to offer to the J juice world, to the people in the group, or to anybody in your world about the J juice, then what the hell are you doing? So we are going into a new world. This is the new world. And we're going through a transition process. Some of you will survive this, others of you won't. And some of you will contribute to people that are not surviving this because you have an axe to grind with everybody and your mother. That's not my deal. I hope that I can reach you in different ways. I don't expect to. Some of you are so stubborn that you're just going to still stay, stuck with whatever your grudges are, and it's only going to undermine you because you're probably not doing the J juice at the level that you should. And the atmosphere is only going to get more aggressive. It hasn't even reached the tipping point yet. It's going to. And will you have what it takes? Some of you will, some of you won't. I'm just hoping you will have what it takes. Because you can only pay so much lip service to the whole J juice world. Eventually it's going to come down to put up or shut up. And if you have nothing to offer to the J juice world, then why are you in this world? What's your point? All right, so yeah, and then we'll probably be faced with mandatory vaccinations. Deal with it. If they do have a mandatory vaccination, I would do it. And then I would process the adjuvants, the virus, whatever. It's all an upgrade. Every single virus, every single mineral, every single, microbe, parasite, inflammation, all of that. It's all an upgrade. Everything that's in a vaccine is your microbiome. Everything that's in a vaccine is your microbiome plus the environment. There's nothing wrong with the vaccines. So if it becomes to where there is mandatory vaccination, don't fight it. If you fight it, then you don't get the J juice. And there's a lot of people on my Facebook that will fight the vaccines because they don't realize that that is a reflection of their microbiome as well as their environment. And they have to transition. And if they can't transition in an appropriate manner, they will then succumb to the symptoms because their body is that weak. The reason why you have symptoms is because your body is that weak and you can't handle the transition. And that's what's going on with those that are dying from the coronavirus, is because their bodies are that weak that they can't transition to the new environment. And when you can't transition to the new environment, it means that you shouldn't have lived to begin with. But you were helped by the vaccine, by modern medicine. Modern medicine and a vaccine gave you the chance at life, and it created the diversity in our society. Now, Mother Nature is taking back her power. And now she is the judge, jury, and executioner. And now, are you going to be able to survive? Are you going to be able to handle Judgment Day from Mother Nature? Or are you going to keep fighting it? Some of you are going to keep fighting it. But the government and the vaccine campaign and biotech are only a reflection of your belief system and a reflection of your environment. You are God, biotech is God, government is God. We all are God. We all are a reflection of our environment. Now, can you measure up? Some of you won't be able to measure up. Some of you are going to fight Mother Nature until you have nothing left. And so instead of fighting, instead of resisting it, it's going to persist if you keep resisting it. Adapt to your environment. It's only get more aggressive. So you better have what it takes. Okay? anyways, that's really all I have right now. But, you know, there's only so much love, love, love in this world. There's only so much, let's have peace and unity. Now you have to deal with yourself. When you're at home, social distancing. Do the J juice, Melissa Ann Johnson. What should we do? I've been telling you what to do. Do the freaking J juice. When you're at home, social distancing, you drink the J juice and you deal with the healing. And you do it on your own. And if you can't do it on your own, then you'll call a doctor and hope that someone's going to be there for you. And hope they're not going to triage somebody else over you. Do the J juice. If there's mandatory vaccinations, do the vaccination and do the J juice. And that's it. The answer is in Mother Nature. It's not out there. The answer. What are you doing on my Facebook, Melissa? Jillyjuice.com. JILLYJUICE.com. Watch my videos. I see you commenting, but I thought you knew about the J juice. Why are you commenting on my Facebook? Okay? Get on my freaking YouTube account. Get on my business page. Read my posts instead of cherry picking things that you want to argue with. That's what I deal with people that come in and they pick and choose what they want to argue with, but they don't know the bigger picture because they're picking and choosing what they want to debate with me about. I've been talking about the J juice since I don't know freaking how long. And that's what's wrong with our society. People cherry pick the information they want. They don't see the bigger picture. They only know a very narrow point of view. And that's why they fail to see the forest for the trees, because they are so narrow-minded in their perspectives that they don't see the bigger picture, and then they lose out, and then they take people down with them. They promote fear with no solution, no real sound solution. And when you are at home social distancing from everybody, you got to heal with the J juice. Okay? You have to heal on your own with the J juice. And if you are too afraid to upgrade your body, and you're too afraid to handle your past, present, and future predispositions, then you're going to roll the dice and hope that that ER doctor is going to pick you over somebody else. So, you know, some of you don't even know why you're on my Facebook. Some of you are friends of mine that you don't know why you're friends with me. Maybe because I picked you up somewhere along the way as far as the conspiracy world. But you never really followed me too closely. And I understand that. But now, Melissa, you have no choice. You have no excuse to be ignorant. Because I've given you the information. And what you do with it is up to you. But for some reason, I was under the impression you understood what was going on as far as the J juice. But, so, go to my business page, Jilly Juice LLC. Go to my YouTube account. I have YouTube videos that I have scattered on my Facebook page that just go to at least from February 14th and on and watch the videos. Because my book is coming out June of 2020, which is perfect. Because we need to have this book come out this year. And it has to be so straight to the point that people are not going to get lost in other ideas. And so I'm kind of glad that I accelerated the whole book thing and just wrote it myself, because I knew that with all of this stuff going on as far as in Europe is now the epicenter. You know, Kevin Van Rompuy is going to be going through some shit over there in Belgium. You know, Italy's already going through some shit. It's going to reach all over Europe. People are going to be dealing with this coronavirus in so many different ways. And I finally got the manuscript done, and it's in the hands of the publisher for it to be then finalized and published. Cross your fingers, in June. And so that's why I spent feverishly the last couple of weeks getting it done. Because there's no way of knowing what's going to happen in the future. And I couldn't risk not getting the book done in the future. Okay? And so, you know, what I could tell you the chapters, Well, I can tell you what I'm going to cover in it. I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I'll tell you at least so you know what you're buying. But you have all my videos. You have access to my Facebook page. Everything is there. Yeah, that's fine. I understand. That's fine, Melissa. But I mean, I'll read to you the about the book. So it's called The Evolution of the Jilly Juice Protocol. And the book's subtitle is Can Humans Live Indefinitely Despite Their Environment? And then so the evolution of the Jilly Juice Protocol speaks to this is about me. The evolution of the Jilly Juice Protocol speaks to the evolution of Jillian Mighty Epperly on the Jilly Juice Protocol. As a wife and dog owner in Ohio, she took cues from academia by conducting her own peer review and research and development group. She figured out how to extrapolate data from her natural community and wrote about it to perfect the Jilly Juice Protocol. And then about the book, Jillian has taken 3.5 years of research and simplified everything down to the elements on the periodic tables, impacting your microbiome and biodiversity. She points out what is missing in the bodies of humans who are aging, degrading, or suffering from disease. She's also changed the Jilly Juice Protocol to be more consistent with her business model, as well as understanding indicators of imbalance. Additionally, she has simplified how the elements and chemistry impacts your microbiome, triggering balance or imbalance in your body, mind, and spirit. Therefore, she's making the correlation that imbalances in your microbiome is causing diagnosable diseases and then eventual death. She breaks down the infection, what infection is, leading to cancer as an imbalance in your microbiome, and debunks the fears around viruses and other entities in the microbiome as something to kill or avoid. Moreover, she helps the reader understand how to recognize mechanisms of adaptation so they do not mischaracterize it and apply the wrong chemistry, causing eventual decay and degradation. Jillian has found a way to reach her community by forging many different relationships with all types of people through their desire to live a quality life, despite their environment. Finally, she raises awareness around the potential for indefinite life and proceeds to raise questions whether purely adopting the traditional role of root of medicine and cures is the way to go, literally and figuratively. Okay? So it's a little wordy. Yes, it does give a lot of the same thing in different ways, but that's the thing is I have to speak to so many different people's listenings that I have to mention infection, cancer, disease, chronic illness, microbiome, elements, all of that. And then the table of contents. Okay. I mean, I have like 10 chapters. So balancing energy, body, mind, and spirit. What is balancing life? What is life? Proteins, viruses, fungi, microviruses, bacteria, bacteriophages, parasites, protozoa. Chapter 3, aging, reproduction, and death. So I talk about adaptation, rebirth, antibiotic, anti-life. Aging is malabsorption. Currently, humanity is stuck in a loop. Chapter 4, geopolitics, Jilly Juice, and indefinite life. I talk about salt, brain, and mucus and lungs. And the Jilly Juice recipe and the emergency recipe for people who are hypoglycemic, but I don't say that because I'm not trying to diagnose anybody. Then I talk about the shopping list and choosing your jars, cabbage and kale, lactobacillus. I focus on that, the salt, the water, how to correct mistakes when fermenting, mold, yeast, storage, botulism, and then what to expect with the Jilly Juice, Silk Road and Alimentary Canal, mucus, antibodies, entities, scheduling your waterfalls, using Western medicine and drinking Jilly Juice with predispositions, to diet or not to diet. Talk about that. The unintended benefits of Jilly Juice, plants and animals, and the kind of people who do Jilly Juice, the antibiotic probiotic model, investing in Jilly Juice. It's like the bull and the bear market on Wall Street. And then I, talk about the elements, biodiversity and biochemistry, trifecta and upgrading, all that. So I go straight to the point. So you understand that anything that you do that is in reaction to cancer, disease, and chronic illness with the intention to kill, that is like starts with an antiviral, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, anti-everything, You are inhibiting cell replication at the micro level, and then you're eventually going to trigger fertility and then death. And that is the looping of humanity. And so the Jilly Juice aims to interrupt that looping to where potentially, yes, you could live indefinitely if you understand how to characterize your symptoms and not apply the wrong chemistry. And so that's why I get on people who are totally into the conspiracy world, anti-government, because they've been told that the government's trying to kill them, when in reality, the government actually is trying to help you. But you have predispositions, you have weaknesses that you didn't know were going to come up when you have to upgrade to a new environment. Natural immunity, breast milk can only go so far. If you're a mother breastfeeding and she only has a certain set of antibodies from her environment, and then you go into a new environment with a new set of antigen, you're going to have to adapt. And if a baby is that weak, because a mother is that weak, the baby could die without some kind of transition process. And that's the whole point of vaccines and modern medicine, is to help a human transition. And that's where diversity comes from, because not every human has what it takes to be 100% full to their potential. And so that's why you have cancer, disease, and chronic illness, because at least that's an insurance policy. That gives you a stay of execution. But if you don't take care of yourself and you fall into the fear campaigns and you demonize everything in their mother, you will sustain and make worse your cancer, disease, chronic illness, and your disabilities. And that's what I'm trying to focus on to the people who are still stuck in those worlds, is your cancer, your disease, your chronic illness is your insurance policy, because you could be dead. Actually, you should have died way back before, when you were born, prior to the vaccines. But the fact that your mother got a vaccine, you got a vaccine, whether it's 1 or 50, gave you a stay of execution. And so anyways, I go into that as well as far as the vaccines. And then how Jilly Juice is kind of like that, because it is a barometer. You're going to figure out whether or not you measure up. You're going to figure out how many predispositions you have to deal with on the J Juice. Some of you don't even want to face what kind of predispositions you have. And so you'd rather be drugged out and anesthetized than really deal with who you are in this world and what your weaknesses are. And many people, even on the J Juice, don't even want to know what their weaknesses are. They like my ideas, but they're not doing the J Juice at the level that they should. And that's who also I have to deal with as well. So it is what it is. But I'm not here to make friends. I would love to make a lot of friends, but I'm not going to sacrifice my protocol because I want to keep friends. Is somebody really my friend to begin with if they're willing to make me wrong because I didn't save their animal? No. They wanted to transfer that stress onto me so they had someone to blame if their animal happened to die while they're on the J Juice. That's why I will not help anyone that wants me to go and save them at the 11th hour. I'm not going to be put in that position. It's time you guys own up to what your contribution to your friends, to your family, whether it's a good or bad contribution. Now it's time for you to own your position into this world. And if you can't own it, I can't make you own it. But I'm not going to take responsibility for your friends, your family, or your animal, or your child. It's time you take responsibility. So that's why I am the way I am. That's why I will not try to save anyone at the 11th hour. You have to save yourselves and save your animals and save your kids and save your husband or wife if they allow you to. And that's all there is to it. Jilly Juice is an individual, independent, isolationist type of protocol that's going to fit perfectly with the current world today. So anyways, I'm going to go and do my thing. My husband's home, but I wanted to give you guys a Sunday morning live, and good luck to you. Do the J Juice. Bye.